Welcome to the Majestic Truth Podcast. Join us as we delve into the mysteries of the universe, explore the unexplained, and shed light on some of the most important events that have occurred and are occurring in our world today. Get ready to open your mind, expand your horizons, and discover the extraordinary. This is the Majestic Truth Podcast. And now your host, Michelle.
Welcome aboard, truth seekers. Fasten your seatbelts and prepare for an unforgettable ride. Together we'll question, explore, and embrace the majesty of truth. I'm so grateful you are here today. So, I've been on the other side of this mic for over 20 years, producing radio shows and podcasts. I have made it a life mission of mine to explore the most mysterious events, to shed light on the past, to prepare for the future, and remind us to never stop researching and seeking answers to explain these extraordinary events that have occurred throughout history. Before we kick off the show here, head on over to majestictruth.com/episode 10. That's the number 10. And grab the downloadable that has the overview of this particular case file and episode. Today, we're going to be exploring the Lonnie Zamora incident. Let me give you a brief event summary. Today, we're delving into a case that has baffled investigators and UFO enthusiasts for decades. The Lonnie Zamora UFO incident of 1964. It's April 24th, 1964, a seemingly ordinary day in Socorro, New Mexico. Police officer Lonnie Zamora is patrolling the desert terrain when he witnesses something that will change his life forever. What he experienced that day has become one of the most intriguing UFO encounters in history. Lonnie Zamora was a respected police officer in Socorro, known for his level-headedness and dedication to his job. On that fateful day, he was in pursuit of a speeding car when he heard a loud roar and saw a flame in the sky. Intrigued and concerned, Zamora abandoned his pursuit and headed towards the source of the disturbance. What he encountered next was nothing short of extraordinary. Zamora arrived at a dry steam bed and was shocked to see a strange, egg-shaped object on the ground, emitting a bluish flame. It had no wings and no visible windows. As Zamora cautiously approached, he saw beings dressed in coveralls outside the craft. They seemed human, but their appearance and behavior was otherworldly. The story only gets more bizarre from here. Zamora reported that the beings noticed him and quickly re-entered the craft. Moments later, the object ascended and disappeared into the sky. Lonnie Zamora's sighting was not just an isolated incident. Multiple witnesses in the area reported seeing a strange object in the sky around the same time. They described it as an oval-shaped craft, and their testimonies corroborated Zamora's account. But here's where things get even more fascinating. This incident was thoroughly investigated by the U.S. Air Force, with Project Blue Book getting involved, and their conclusion? Unidentified. That's right, listeners. Even the experts couldn't explain what Lonnie Zamora and others witnessed that day. Now, theories abound regarding what Lonnie Zamora encountered in 1964. Some believe it was an extraterrestrial spacecraft, while others propose more conventional explanations, such as experimental military aircraft. The Zamora incident has had a lasting impact on both the UFO community and popular culture. It remains one of the most credible UFO encounters to date, thanks to Lonnie Zamora's unimpeachable character and the multiple witnesses who corroborated his account. And there you have it, listeners, the unforgettable Lonnie Zamora UFO incident of 1964, a case that continues to captivate our imaginations and fuel the search for answers about what lies beyond our earthly realm. All right, so we have some key factors of this case. There's many, but we'll just cover the overview of these key factors. Key factor number 1, burns and impact marks on the ground. During the Lonnie Zamora UFO incident in Socorro, New Mexico, the craft's interaction with the ground resulted in the burning of vegetation beneath it. According to Zamora's eyewitness account, as the craft took off, it emitted a powerful blast or flame from its underside, causing the vegetation directly beneath it to ignite and burn. Zamora described the flames as a bluish color, which seemed intense and capable of causing rapid combustion. The flames were of sufficient intensity to scorch the ground and nearby vegetation, leaving behind clear burn marks and charred areas. The burn grounds served as physical evidence of the craft's presence and the intense energy it produced during its departure. The burning of the ground underneath the craft added to the intrigue of the incident and contributed to the overall credibility of Zamora's account. The physical evidence supported his claims of witnessing a highly unusual and powerful craft that possessed capabilities beyond conventional technology. The precise nature of the flames and the mechanism by which they ignited the ground remains unexplained, further deepening the mystery of the Socorro UFO incident. The burning vegetation serves as a reminder of the extraordinary and unexplained phenomena that continue to perplex scientists, researchers, and UFO enthusiasts alike. All right, further thinking and research. What caused the burns on the ground? What caused the impact marks on the ground? All right, key factor number 2, details of the craft. Lonnie Zamora's description of the craft he witnessed during the Socorro UFO incident in New Mexico was detailed and intriguing. According to his account, the craft appeared to be egg-shaped and had a metallic or shiny exterior. The size of the craft was estimated to be about 15 to 20 feet in length. Zamora also provided details about the markings or symbols on the craft. He mentioned seeing red insignia or markings on the side of the craft. All right, further thinking and research. Zamora's detailed description of the craft, its markings, and the encounter with the beings added credibility to his account. His reputation as a reliable police officer further enhanced the significance of the Socorro UFO incident and made it one of the most compelling cases in UFO history. All right, key factor number 3, multiple reports of strange sightings near Socorro. According to the newspaper, The New Mexican, an article was published on Monday, April 27th, 1964, titled, More Reports of Strange Sightings Near Socorro. All right, let's take a look at this article here. Now, this is from 1964. The unidentified flying object report from Socorro Friday has been followed by 2 more reported unidentified sightings. Socorro policeman Bill Pylan said a girl who didn't give her name reported a fire in the hilly area 1 mile southwest of Socorro Sunday night. Officer Lonnie Zamora, while patrolling in his car late Friday afternoon, said he saw an egg-shaped object. When he approached, he said the object flew away. Pylan said the girl, about 18, said she was from 300 to 500 feet from the fire, and she thought there was something in the flames. Pylan said men searched the area described by the girl, but found nothing. He said officers would visit the area in daylight, noting it would be difficult to find any exact spot at night in the brushy desert terrain surrounding Socorro. Representatives of the military and other officers who visited the spot where Zamora saw the object land found burned brush and scorched earth. They also found 4 impressions in the earth, which appeared to have been left by landing gear. A motorist who identified himself to Pyland as George Metropolis of Albuquerque said that while driving north from El Paso Sunday, he saw a silver object go up over a mountain and down, out of sight near Cabala Reservoir. He said he was near the junction of US 85 and New Mexico 180, and the object appeared to be about a quarter of a mile to the east. He said it looked like an upside down bathtub, about 30 feet in diameter. It had no lights, he said. So interesting. We have multiple reports of unidentified flying objects around the time that Lonnie Zamora reported his sighting. All right, further thinking and research. What could explain the multiple reports of people seeing strange sightings in the Socorro area on April 24th, 1964? All right, now that we have gone through the key factors of the case, let's listen to some audio sound bites. This is police officer Lonnie Zamora's account during an interview he gave after the incident. This first clip is Lonnie talking about how he came upon the situation.
I was chasing a reckless driver going up south on Park Street. Up to the time I came to this little road, I heard this big roar blast. We got a dynamite check to the west there. I thought I'd investigate maybe. I thought maybe blow it up. So I started up there real fast. Halfway to it, I stuck my head out the window out of the car, and I seen this white egg object. I didn't know what it was at that time. I thought it was a vehicle that turned over. I started up real fast so I could maybe help the people in the car. I went up to it close, about 200 feet. I was 200 feet from it. I got off the car and started toward it when I heard this big noise again, same noise, and the flame coming from under it. I got scared and started running back. I ran about 50 feet from it.
So Officer Zamora sees the flames coming out from under it. He gets scared and starts running from it. So he gets on the ground to hide until he doesn't hear the noise anymore.
Afterwards, I didn't hear the noise no more. I just lifted up my head to see what was happening. It was real quiet then, and I saw this white object just take off towards the west there, smooth out.
So when he looks again, he sees the white object take off. Now, Officer Zamora has this exchange about the vehicle taking off and if it left a vapor trail.
No, sir, it didn't. Just quiet, no trail, no nothing.
But it did make a roar at the time you approached it.
A big roar, yes, sir, it did.
And you could actually see the flame in under it.
Yes, sir, I did.
Was it standing on legs?
Yes, sir, it's legs. I call it legs, yes.
And you thought there were 4 of these?
Apparently there was on the markings on the ground. It was 4 legs, yes.
So it left marks on the ground from the legs of the craft. So after the craft takes off, Officer Zamora radios for help, and then he goes back to investigate the scene.
Well, the bush, a bush is there around there, greasewood and grass was still burning. So, I saw this markings on the ground, prints and everything else.
There were prints as if it had been standing on these legs.
Right.
So the grass was still burning. There were marks on the ground from the legs it was standing on. So physical evidence. All right, next up, I want to go over highlights from the FBI investigation document dated May 8th, 1964. I'm going to do something different here, and rather than me reading all the highlights I pulled out myself, I'm going to use a voice actor to read the portions that are in Officer Zamora's own words. Okay, these statements and this document was officially taken on April 24th, 1964. The following data was obtained from Officer Lonnie Zamora, Police Department, Socorro, New Mexico, the night of April 24th, 1964, and early morning April 25th, 1964, as related by Officer Zamora. Now, I'm just pulling out highlighted parts. There's much more to it, so if you get the downloadable, you can read all of it. About 5:45 p.m., April 24th, 1964, while in Socorro 2 police car, Started to chase a car due south from west side of courthouse. Car was apparently speeding. And here's Lonnie.
At this time, I heard a roar and saw a flame in the sky to the southwest some distance away, possibly a half mile or a mile. It came to mind that a dynamite shack in that area had blown up. I decided to abandon the chase I was on and to check on the flame. The flame was bluish and sort of orange too. It was a sort of motionless flame, slowly descending. I was still driving the police car and could not pay too much attention to the flame.
I want to note that Lonnie also mentions that there was no smoke. The noise was a roar, not a blast, not like a jet. Changed from high frequency to low frequency and then stopped. Roar lasted possibly 10 seconds, was going towards it at the time on the rough gravel road. Sound distinctly from high to low until it disappeared. After the roar and flame, did not note anything while going up the somewhat steep rough hill toward the flame site.
Suddenly, I noted a shiny type of object to the south about 150 to 200 yards. It was off the road. At first glance, it looked like a car turned upside down. I thought some kids might have turned it over. I saw two people in white coveralls very close to the object. One of these persons seemed to turn and look straight at my car and seemed startled and seemed to quickly jump somewhat. When I first saw the object, I saw what appeared to be two legs of some type from the object to the ground. The two legs were at the bottom of the object, slanted outwards to the ground. The object might have been about 3.5 feet from the ground at that time. At this time, I started moving my car towards them quickly, with the idea to help. The object was like aluminum and it was whitish against the mesa background, but not chrome. The car appeared turned up like standing on the radiator or on the truck at this first glance. The only time I saw these two persons was when I had stopped for possibly 2 seconds or so to glance at the object. I don't recall noting any particular shape or possibly any hats or headgear. These persons appeared normal in shape, but possibly they were small adults or large kids.
So at this point, Zamora radios to the sheriff's office. Socorro 2 to Socorro, possible 1044, which is an accident. I'll be 106, which is busy, out of the car, checking the car down in the arroyo. Now here's Officer Zamora.
I stopped the car and was still talking on the radio. I started to get out and the mic fell down. I reached back to put up the mic and then replaced the radio mic into the slot and got out of the car and turned to go down to where I knew the object was. As my mic fell, I got out of the car at the scene area and I heard about 2 or 3 loud thumps like someone possibly hammering or shutting a door or doors hard. These thumps were possibly a second or less apart. This was just before the roar. The persons were not seen when I got up to the scene area.
Zamora hardly turned around from the car when he heard the roar. Very loud roar at that close was real loud, not like a jet. Knows what a jet sounds like. Started low frequency quickly, then roar rose in frequency and in loudness from loud to very loud. At the same time as the roar, he saw flames. Flame was under the object. Object was starting to go straight up slowly. Object slowly rose straight up. Flame was light blue, and at the bottom was some sort of orange color. No smoke, though, except dust in the immediate area. Now here's Lonnie again.
As soon as I saw the flame and heard the roar, I turned away and ran away from the object, but I did turn my head several times towards the object. I bumped my leg on my car back fender area. My car was facing southwest. My glasses fell to the ground and I left them there. I ran to the north. The car was between me and the object.
The object was smooth in shape. No windows or doors. As roar started, it was still on or near the ground. So he also notes an insignia, and when you download this document from majestictruth.com, you'll see it's in the downloadable, the object that he saw on the side of the ship. After he fell by the car and his glasses fell off, he kept running to the north with the car between me and the object. He glanced back a couple of times, noted object to rise to about level of the car, about 20 to 25 feet. Guess, that's his guess, took, I guess, about 6 seconds when object started to rise, and I glanced back. And here's Lonnie.
I guess I had run about 25 feet when I glanced back and saw the object about level with the car, and it appeared about directly over the place where it rose from. I was still running and I jumped just over the hill. I stopped because I did not hear the roar. I was scared of the roar and I had planned to continue running down the hill. I turned around toward the object and at the same time I put my head towards the ground, covering my face with my arms. Being that there was no roar, I looked up and I saw the object going away from me in a southwest direction. When the roar stopped, I heard a sharp tone whine from high tone to low tone. At the end of the roar was this whine, and the whine lasted maybe a second. Then there was complete silence about the object. That's when I lifted up my head and saw the object going away from me. It did not come any closer to me. It appeared to go in a straight line and at the same height, possibly 10 to 15 feet from the ground, and it cleared the dynamite shack by about 3 feet. The shack is about 8 feet high. The object was traveling very fast. It seemed to rise up and take off immediately across the country. I ran back to my car, and as I ran back, I kept an eye on the object. I picked up my glasses and got into the car and radioed to the radio operator to look out the window to see if you could see an object. He asked, "What is it?" I answered, "It looks like a balloon." I don't know if he saw it. If he looked out the window which faces north, he couldn't have seen it. I did not tell him at the moment which window to look out of. As I was speaking to the radio, I could still see the object. The object seemed to light up slowly and to get small in the distance very fast. It seemed to just clear the Box Canyon or 6 Mile Canyon mountain. It disappeared as it went over the mountain. It had no flame whatsoever as it was traveling over the ground, and no smoke or noise. Just before the sergeant got to the scene, I got my pen and drew a picture of the insignia on the object.
So Zamora was feeling in good health. His last drink was 2 or 3 beers, which was over a month ago. He noted no odors, noted no sounds other than what he described. He gave directions to get there. He went down to where the object had been and noted the brush was burning in several places. And here's Zamora again.
At that time, I heard the sergeant calling me on the radio for my location, and I returned to my car and told him he was looking at me. Then the sergeant came up and asked me what the trouble was because I was sweating. He told me I was white and very pale. I asked the sergeant to see what I saw, and that was the burning brush. Then the sergeant and I went to the spot, and the sergeant pointed out the tracks.
Now, there's pictures of this in this episode's downloadable at majestictruth.com/episode 10, the number 10. You can see the officers and the investigators looking down at the tracks and the burning grass, as well as this document I read excerpts from. All right, I'm going to jump now to a newspaper article from the New Mexican. Wednesday, April 29th, 1964. The headline reads, "Areas Trampled. Curious Citizenry Foils Investigator." A Northwestern University astronomer investigating New Mexico's unidentified flying objects reports for the Air Force found the Socorro site trampled by sightseers today. "There's nothing there to see now," said Dr. J. Allen Hynek, "but soil samples have been taken to determine if there are any particles in the ashes that are foreign to this area." Dr. Hynek visited the secluded hill where Officer Lonnie Zamora said he spotted an unidentified flying object Friday. Dr. Hynek said one of the things that bothers him about the New Mexico sites was the absence of any reported radar contacts in connection with the sightings. "It's my understanding New Mexico is infested with radar equipment," he said, "and often in these cases we do have radar contacts." He said the radar contacts usually lead to identification of some known aircraft. Dr. Hynek said he believes Zamora was an entirely reliable observer. "He was, of course, frightened by whatever he saw," Dr. Hynek said. Zamora said the object he saw was a brilliant white. He said there was a red marking on it like an upside-down V with 3 lines across the top, through the middle, and at the bottom. He said that from a distance there appeared to be 2 figures in white coveralls outside the object. "It flew off with a roar when he approached," Zamora said. Since Zamora's sighting, several reports have been made to authorities, including one from a youth who said he fired several shots at something about 100 feet in the air near Edgewood. And how about this article from Albuquerque Tribune, also from Wednesday, April 29th, 1964. Headline reads, "Girl says she was burned while watching UFO here." Concern over unidentified flying objects continued at a high pitch here today. Latest incidents include a report from a 10-year-old girl that she was burned while watching a strange egg-shaped thing in the sky yesterday afternoon. A report from a truck driver and his wife that they saw two mysterious objects in the sky between here and Socorro. The rash of incidents started Friday when a policeman saw a UFO take off south of Socorro. UFO experts from different parts of the country are in New Mexico to investigate. Suffering eye, nose, and face burns yesterday afternoon was Sharon Stoll, one of 5 children of Mr. and Mrs. Max L. Stoll. On Lowell School grounds, she said she gazed at a UFO for 5 or 10 minutes shortly before 12:30 p.m. on the Lowell School ground. After 1 p.m. while in class, she noticed burning sensations about her eyes and face. She and her mother believe her burns were inflicted by the thing in the sky. Sharon said she was not facing the sun while watching the thing, slightly smaller than an airplane, and having no windows, speed across the sky and disappear into the distance. Her mother said the child has never had a sunburn and couldn't have gotten one in the few minutes she was outside. Her sister Robin, 8, says she too saw the thing but paid little attention to it and didn't continue to watch it. Sharon said 2 other children also glanced at it briefly. Sharon was treated by a doctor at Bataan Hospital last night and was kept in bed at home today with her blinds drawn to protect her inflamed eyes and eyelids. Complaints of pains, part of her face and nose appeared to be puffy and red. She continued to complain of burn pains. Police interviewed her at length about the incident and had her draw the silvery object. Sharon's doctor said this diagnosis is conjunctivitis of both eyes and first-degree sunburn under the eyes and on the nose, adding, the sun exposure she had yesterday would usually be considered insufficient to cause the burns and inflammation. It appears to be the type of burns and inflammation caused by longer exposure to the sun. I'm just scared to death, Mrs. Stoll said. Truck driver Napoleon Green, 37, and his wife, 35, spotted 2 UFOs traveling at about the speed of jet planes at 5:30 p.m. yesterday as they were driving toward Albuquerque on US 85, 17 miles north of Socorro. I wasn't going to report it because I didn't want to believe my eyes, Mr. Green said today. He said his wife dived beneath the truck's dashboard after seeing the egg-shaped things about half the size of jet planes and shining brightly in the setting sun. Green said he saw them possibly 2 minutes before they disappeared over the eastern horizon. Federal Aviation Agency officials said they have seen nothing unusual in the sky or on their radar screens. Airplanes appear only as small dots on the screens, and it is unlikely a UFO could be distinguished from an airplane on radar. The Weather Bureau, FAA, and Kirtland Air Force Base said there were no balloons or other strange appearing objects in the sky here, to their knowledge, at the time Sharon saw what she did. Interesting. Crazy stuff here. I mean, this is just 2 articles of so many with all of the key factors of this case stacked up. What are your thoughts? Send them my way to truth@majestictruth.com. I'd love to hear from you. All right, truth seekers. That concludes this episode of Majestic Truth. I hope you've enjoyed exploring the depths of the unknown with us today. Remember, the pursuit of truth and the quest for knowledge are ongoing journeys. So stay curious, stay open-minded, always follow your dreams, and keep seeking answers. Next week, we will dive into the Gorman dogfight, where we journey back to the chilly night of October 1st, 1948, over the enigmatic skies of Fargo, North Dakota. This is the night when the Gorman dogfight etched its name in UFO lore. Veteran pilot George Gorman claimed to have engaged in an airborne duel with an unidentified flying object for 27 suspense-filled minutes He navigated the night skies in an intense aerial tango with an entity that defied the laws of physics. Join us as we delve into the details of this extraordinary incident. For more information on this episode about the Lonnie Zamora incident, and to get the downloadable for this episode, visit majestictruth.com/episode 10. And if you have your own theories or stories to share about UFOs and other conspiracies, reach out to us on social media or email us at thetruth@majestictruth.com. That's truth@majestictruth.com. Thanks for joining me, Truth Seekers. I'm grateful for every listener and humbled by every subscriber. Don't forget to mark your calendars and set your alarms, because our next episode will be available next Tuesday on your favorite podcast app. Trust us, you won't want to miss it. Until then, keep your eyes in the skies, your mind open, and remember, the truth is out there.
For updates, behind-the-scenes content, and a chance to engage with fellow truth seekers, stay connected with us on social media. Find us on Twitter at TruthSeekerPod, Instagram at Majestic Truth Seekers, and TikTok at Majestic Truth Seekers. Tune in next week as we explore the night when the Gorman dogfight etched its name in UFO lore. Thanks for listening.